manual. I'm also busy with a POPI manual for a non-real estate business, which is very interesting because obviously, you know, we're so used to thinking about the way you and I do business because we work with sellers and buyers and tenants and landlords, and Property 24 and Lightstone and CMA. It's interesting for me to apply all these rules and all the principles to a non-real estate business. So I have to stretch my mind a little bit when it comes to like export business and, you know, the compliance with international privacy legislation as well, which you don't need to worry about too much. So yeah, it's 3 minutes past 12 now. I just want to see, we've got 94 people. Lonnie, I think maybe just give it another minute or two. Okay, good.
Mel, I've also just shared the link in the chat section where everyone can find the videos, and just see if you can share your screen from your side.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me just start the PowerPoint. If everybody wouldn't mind just popping on in the chat box where you're from, because we've discovered that there are a lot of you know, there's people from all over the country. It's a nice national attendance usually for our first 3 sessions. We were quite surprised. It's very nice for me to see where everybody's from and where you're logging on. It's nice to know that some small towns are also represented in the sessions. But yeah, it would be nice if you could just pop it in the chat box so we could have a look to see where everybody's from. I do recognize a few people from Cape Town. I see there's a few people from Stellenbosch, Plattekloof, Strand, Midrand, Pretoria North, Kleinmond. It's lovely. Let me see some more. Crinkle Bay, Kyalami, Somerset West, PGP. Oh, there's a couple of people from a cold and wet Durban, KwaZulu-Natal. I think it's cold, not yet wet in Cape Town, but it's pretty cold everywhere. Cape Town's been very cold. To me, it feels like we should be in July. It's like we missed a few months of this year. We're all wearing boots and jackets and coats still. Okay, so I think we shall start. Let me just see how many people have, yeah, 109. So it doesn't really bother me as people log in and dial up. But I think, yeah, let's start and tackle this interesting presentation of today, cyber security. It really has boggled my mind in doing research. I mean, I had an inkling of what's going on in the world, but I didn't really know the statistics until I went and Googled the statistics. How interesting. I mean, we Google everything. Google is part of the problem. So as soon as we start Googling statistics for cybersecurity and cybercrime, Google makes a note in their back office about my search for in respect of cybersecurity. So, I mean, well, where are the days where we used to get these door-to-door salesmen that used to sell the Kennis and the, what was that encyclopedia range, the books? I can't remember, but I mean, where are the days where we used to do our research in a library with printed books? I mean, things were a lot slower, I suppose, back in the day, but we were a lot more secure. We were a lot safer in those days because our connections were real face-to-face connections. Now our connections are very, very virtual, and we connect with one another. We connect with the world, and the world connects with us without us knowing. You know, in cyberspace and virtually. And we must now start opening up our eyes. We must start getting a perspective with regards to the way in which the world is connecting with us without us even knowing, simply because we've got devices. And our devices are connected to the internet. They stay connected to the internet at all times. We send emails through our devices. We receive emails through our devices. We receive private and work and business emails through our devices. You know, and that opens up our businesses and our own personal banking and our personal information to hacking and to fraud and to theft. So hopefully after today, you will be a little bit more careful. You will start changing your mindset with regards to your personal security, cyber security when it comes to your cell phone and your tablet and your laptop. And if you're working for bigger organizations, I'm sure that your IT guys in the bigger organizations are already sitting around tables talking about what needs to be done in order to comply with the POPI Act provisions. So, yeah, so I hope that you find today really interesting as much as I did in preparation. So just to do a little summary of where we are in the 6-month program, you have all probably forgotten already what I covered in session 1 to 3. I found over the 20 years that I've been training, generally, not just in the real estate industry, that I have to repeat things a lot because concepts are difficult to remember offhand. And I know for a fact that some of you are sitting here and you can't really remember what we covered in session 2. Can't really remember what we covered in session 3. You do remember that it was interesting, but you're not really yet sure how the POPI Act is going to work practically in your office. The idea here is not to give you all the answers quite yet. The idea with my 6-month program is to just introduce you to concepts and to introduce your mindset to what is about to happen in the next 8 to 10 to 12 months in South Africa, in as far as the privacy laws are concerned and what we will be entitled to, but also what your clients will be entitled to. So in session 1, I actually went through some definitions in the Act, the POPI Act. I told you when it commenced, how it's about to commence, the due dates, when things need to be finished and when everything needs to have been reviewed. And in session 2, I actually went through a bit of a gap analysis. In other words, all the different elements in your business, where and how you collect your clients' personal information, why you collect the personal information. And then we looked very much at how we needed to adjust our standard documentation, how we needed to adjust all our hypersignatures on our emails. I looked at mandates, notices, and I gave you examples of what we think should now appear in your information sheets, how you need to justify the information that you collect and tell your clients where to find your privacy policies on your websites, etc. And then in session 3, I actually showed you quite a number of examples of policies that I've picked up in the last 2 months since President Ramaphosa announced the promulgation of the POPI Act. All of a sudden, you see these pop-ups regarding security policies and privacy policies on pretty much all the devices applications. So if I go into Excel, I get a pop-up. If I go into Google, I get a pop-up. Just prompting me, those privacy policy prompts. And I gave you some homework a few sessions ago, and I actually want you still to continue reading through all the privacy policies that actually come up in your prompts. Whenever you see the words privacy policies, security policy, data information, those prompts that have come up, don't just, I know they're irritating when you want to read an article quickly or when you want to look at and pay for something and the prompt comes up and you just want to swipe it off. It's important because that's the type of policy content that you will see in your organization. And today's session, I will be covering IT safeguards and compliance, which is really very interesting. So just a quick recap in order for you to get some context of where cybersecurity and virtual security, how that forms part of POPI and the POPI Act and your privacy policy. After session 1, 2, and 3, you should already now have been able to identify the areas in your office or in your business that should be included in the new policy specifically. I hope you've done a bit of a gap analysis. If not, then go back to slide 2, session 2 and session 1 and go and see what I said regarding gap analysis and the summaries you need to make about the different elements in your business. But because I'm so kind, I'm going to just give you a nice overview of what we think should appear in your organization or your business's privacy policy. Obviously, I picked up many of these headings, which will be a subheading in your main policy document. from reading hundreds and hundreds of privacy policies which have been prompted on my device and on my laptop and on my tablet. So I see these sub-clauses and sub-policies which form part of your bigger policy over and over and over again. So just to summarize, that your privacy policy will have to include references to electronic data retention, electronic data disposal, physical data retention and physical data disposal. Because you know, we've gone through you collecting information, why you collect information, what you do with it. You store physical pieces of paper and you also upload it onto a system. So that's what I mean when I say electronic data retention and electronic data disposal. You also will see in your privacy policy references to email, instant message, voicemail retention policy. Do we ever even clean our cell phones out? Do we delete all our WhatsApps? Do we actually go through our WhatsApps and delete the ones from clients where the transaction's been included? There now needs to be guidelines in your privacy policy. Third-party sharing policy. There's no written policies that I have seen in any of the real estate offices regarding real estate offices sharing client information with attorneys and with MOs and with property databases. There needs to be a written policy now regarding third-party sharing policies. Very important, teleconferencing policies. What you and I are doing right now, we are sitting and discussing very important and relevant information over teleconferencing. Zoom is called teleconferencing. And you know, it never occurred to even STBB to think about rules and guidelines regarding the sharing of our PowerPoint presentation for today's presentation, or the video that we are recording. So we have also quickly had to put together a teleconferencing policy so that everybody within our organization follows the same rules and not just send out our PowerPoint or send out our recordings. There also needs to be reference to the VPN and password usage policy. VPN. Do we all know what VPN is? It is a remote access to a server, and it's usually a business server. So if you want to access your work emails and your work files from home through your own Wi-Fi or your own fiber, then you usually will have to log in through a VPN server. Do we even have a policy? Do we have guidelines in the business? No, not really, other than just typing in your name and putting in your password. Internet, email, and cybersecurity policies, devices, incident report policy. So what if something happens or your cell phone gets stolen with all the contact details on, your passwords on there? Does your company have or your business have a policy? Direct marketing policies. We've gone through the guidelines, but now we need to write them down. If the people in the organization don't follow the rules and the guidelines regarding all these aspects in the privacy policy, what happens then? What happens if someone violates the rules and don't, for instance, clean out their WhatsApps if the privacy policy says they must clean out the WhatsApps? There needs to be a written guideline, set out and referencing complaints. If clients are unhappy about you not following the rules, or maybe they feel that you're not dealing with the information confidentially. And then lastly, intellectual property. Photos, which is very relevant for you guys as real estate practitioners. Are there even guidelines regarding photos that get taken on behalf of your owners when you list a property? So this is a nice snapshot. This slide gives you a nice snapshot of all the main subcategories that will appear, at least will appear in your main privacy policy. Now these will be the paragraphs. You will note that I've highlighted some of these sub-paragraphs or headings of the sub-policies in your main policy in red. So many aspects of your privacy policy and your data security policy will relate to cyber, to virtual information and virtual activities and doing business virtually. So I've just taken all the red ones from the slide, which is the overview, and it's the snapshot, and this is what we'll be covering today. Every time that you share information with a third party, you are putting your business at risk. You're putting your client's information at risk. There needs to be rules. every time you use your cell phone in order to download an email from your business email address, putting your business at risk. There's then cybersecurity risk. Every time you send an email from your cell phone or your laptop, there's a risk. Every time you forget to change your passwords, if you've got the same passwords on all your devices, if you don't dispose of details, if you keep all the details at all times and you never delete anything, etc. So these subcategories in the larger privacy policy are the subcategories that I will be covering today. And they are the ones in which you need to take note of the guidelines to try and mitigate the risk of cyber fraud and cyber theft. So why is cybersecurity such a big issue in terms of the POPI Act? And not only in terms of the POPI Act, but also with South Africa being part of the global economy. You and I are part of this massive global movement towards social media and communicating virtually. So let me give you a very, very interesting statistical overview of what is going on in the world in as far as social media and virtual communication is concerned. Look at these, mind-boggling statistics. So these statistics were compiled in July 2020, so it's just a few months ago. Currently, there are 7.79 billion people in the world. So the total population on planet Earth is 7.79 billion people. It's a lot of people, of which 56% stay in developed towns or cities. So there's a massive movement away from farming and rural living. People are moving into the cities. 5.15 billion of the 7.79 billion have a cell phone. 66% of the entire world population has a mobile device. It's quite mind-boggling. One would never think to look up these statistics unless it's necessary. 59% of all the world's population use the internet, which means the internet connects us, even if we don't think so. Everyone that uses the internet are connected. So you and I are connected with the rest of the 4.57 billion people in the world using the internet at the same time. 3.96 million people, which constitutes 51% of the world population, are active social media users. Social media has now become more popular than the internet. And it's quite dangerous if one doesn't understand the risks involved in using the internet, you and I, Googling things, as well as going onto Facebook, posting pictures, liking pictures, looking at business pages, inviting friends. Just to like a business page attracts attention from some of the 3.96 billion other users, global social media users in the world. This is quite a snapshot, of which 346 million new users have come online within the last 12 months. That increase is not a surprise because of the COVID lockdown, which was a global COVID lockdown. People were on their cell phones a lot more, and they were bored and they wanted to be in connection, in virtual contact, cyber contact with people, other people in the world. They wanted to see what was happening in other countries. So 346 million people, new users, came online within the last 12 months. So if you start putting all these blocks together, it's very interesting to start thinking about, what COVID has really meant for the world. It has opened up cyber risks exponentially because we've been in lockdown. So it's actually very scary to think what is going to happen, especially in the next few years. Let's have a look to see what is happening directly as a result of COVID-19. So this is, as I said, statistics that were drawn and compiled in July 2019 and gives us a very nice snapshot or screenshot of the increase in online and digital activities. So these are the percentages of internet users aged 16 to 64 in select countries. And I mean, it's very vague at the bottom, but it's most of the countries who report spending more time on each activity due to COVID-19. So this is a nice snapshot, like a slice, a population slice. So 54% of internet users were watching more shows and films on streaming services, I suppose like Netflix. And that is only since, say, the end of January up until now. 43% of internet users spend longer using social media. So you are actually connected live at risk for longer because 43% of the world's population aged between 16 and 64 are spending longer on social media. 46% of internet users spend longer on messenger services. 37% of internet users listen to more music streaming services. Again, if you're streaming music, that means you're using the internet, which means you're opening up your own information, your own data, and your business data through your device over the internet because you're listening to music on the internet connection. 36% of people spending more time on mobile apps, 35% spending more time playing computer games, 16% creating and uploading videos, and 15% listening to more podcasts. So there is a remarkable increase because of the COVID-19 lockdown situation and the consequences as a result of that. A remarkable increase in people using these devices and the functions on these devices, which is dangerous. I'm sure if you're really honest with yourself, you'll also be able to confirm that you used your cell phone a lot more because, you know, we were stuck at home and we wanted to be in contact and connection and see what the rest of the world was doing. On average, social media users are now spending 2 hours and 24 minutes per day multi-networking across an average of 8 social networks and messaging apps. I'll let that sink in for a second. We are all exposing ourselves to cyber risk, cyber theft, virtual risk. We're putting our clients at risk because we are spending more time multi-networking across an average of 8 social networks, and not only more networks, we're not only doing more connections or connecting more to more apps and more services, but we're also spending longer hours. I thought it was interesting to give you an analysis of the number of people using the internet, a breakdown, between Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, WeChat, and then the rest. By far, Facebook is the most popular out of all the social network media or services. Then YouTube obviously has seen a massive spike, and which is why YouTube has also started doing the ads. I mean, if you've been a YouTube user for a long time and you like watching music videos or downloading videos, you would have noticed that in the last 18 months, I would say that advertisers, ad companies, multinationals have used YouTube a lot more successfully for marketing their services. Because if you do not wish to accept or watch any of the ads on YouTube before your video starts, you've got to actually pay a subscription to YouTube. I mean, they've got us in shackles. We've become so used to using Facebook and YouTube and WhatsApp that we don't even think about it anymore and about what we're actually doing and what type of information we are sharing. We should think about these things a little bit more. So also interesting statistic I thought of showing you that the biggest number of usage out of the 5.6 billion internet users, 90.4% are millennials. 77.5% of users is Generation X, and then the baby boomers are lagging behind. But I think the baby boomers, even though they might be a bit slow on the uptake, if we talk about TikTok and things moving quickly on social media, it's actually better not to know, and it's better not to be on those sites, because every app that you download increases your risk of cyber fraud and cyber security breaches. So the biggest component of the worldwide population on the internet comprises of people who are not older than 30 years old or 35 years old. That's the millennials. And, you know, they are the most active. So they are also the biggest targets and most at risk. So it's very interesting also to see going forward in the next 5 years, the statistics regarding cyber theft and cyber crime. And I think the focus is on the consumers who are the most active, which in all parts of the economy, including internet usage, is the millennials. Okay, now let's look at some shocking stats. These are global cold facts surrounding cybersecurity, breaches, and what is going on. I found this information also published in July 2020, and it looked at various databases over a 12-month period. Have a look at this. So fact number 1, 95% of breached records came from only 3 industries in 2016, up until 2019, because it's up until December. The government industry or government departments of the countries that are affected, retail, which obviously because people are buying things online, so it's so easy for a hacker to go and grab your bank details and steal money from your bank account, and on the flip side, steal money from the retail service provider like Woolworths or Spree or any of those which are only app-based, and then technology, obviously. Fact number 2, which is interesting, there's a hacker attack every 39 seconds in the world. Because remember, we've got 5.57 billion people connected on the internet. So it's no surprise that there is a hacker attack every 39 seconds of every day across the world. Fact number 3, 43% of cyber attacks target small businesses, because obviously small businesses might not always have the budget to put in place proper cyber security mechanisms and measures. Small businesses often think that they won't be a target because they don't have as much money as the bigger businesses. But it's the small businesses which are the easiest targets because of exactly that reason. Interesting fact number 4, the global average cost of a data breach is $3.9 million across small and medium businesses. So the average in a 12-month period for a small or medium business is $3.9 million. I mean, it's huge. And that might not only be money stolen from the small or medium business's bank account. It's not always direct cost. It's the indirect cost as well, which is quantified within the $3.9 million. Reputational damage, clients taking their business away, insurance companies not wishing to pay out because obviously measures weren't implemented. People actually suffering damages as a result of your slack cybersecurity measures implemented. So it could be direct theft or cost and indirect cost. Look at fact number 5. Since COVID-19, the US FBI reported a 300% increase in reported cyber crimes. It is because people are at home. They were relaxing. They were stressed. They weren't focusing on cyber crime, cyber theft, virtual crime. People just relaxed a little bit too much. And obviously people went at the offices. You know, sometimes server rooms are situated in a head office, and, you know, it's just led to a lot more attempts and successful attempts in cyber crimes. Look at fact number 6. More than 93% of healthcare organizations globally have experienced a data breach over the past 3 years. And I can just imagine that because of COVID and the huge intake and also the contact tracing mechanisms which were implemented globally, you know, the registers of people at the offices, at the hospitals, clients who arrive at your viewings, clients who arrive at your offices, you take down their details, and in most instances those details are captured electronically. That's very scary. Interesting fact number 7, human intelligence and comprehension is the best defense against phishing attacks. So, and I would reckon that all participants here today are highly intelligent and have a good comprehension of things generally. But I think we have lagged behind in our mindset slightly regarding cybersecurity. We've all been quick on the uptake with, our physical security, getting our anti-theft covers on our windows, our bars in front of our doors, all the security gates, all the physical measures. We've been quick on the uptake over the years, but not so quick when it comes to cyber security. And you must start thinking about cyber threats in the same way as you think about your physical threat of being kidnapped or being, attacked. A physical attack is as bad as what a cyber attack could be, because it could wipe out your business. Fact number 8, approximately $6 trillion is expected to be spent globally on cybersecurity by 2021. So it's all connected. COVID has brought about this massive increase in cyber risk, cyber crimes and breach records. And as a result, many companies are now offering the services of doing your gap analysis, of putting in firewalls and putting all the cyber security measures in place. So it really is a budgeting business, and they reckon that $6 trillion globally is expected to be spent on cybersecurity by 2021. Fact number 9, also interesting. This is a very, very interesting one. I wanted to actually expand on it, but I'll do it next time because we won't have time today. When I saw this fact number 9, let's read through it. I also wondered, what the hell does IoT stand for? I've never heard of it. I mean, it just shows you. I just missed the millennial cutoff birth date. But I reckon, I might have just as well have been a baby boomer. Because IoT comes up in all the references in my material, my research material. So obviously, needless to say, I Googled it. Meaning of IoT. So fact number 9 reads, connected IoT devices will reach 75 billion by 2025. So I quickly want to ask people to pop into the chat box, because I want to see if there are any of the participants who know what that acronym IoT stands for in our cold fact number 9 box. Okay, give you I'll give you 10 seconds. Connected IoT devices will reach 75 billion by 2025. Okay. I don't think anybody knows the meaning of IoT. Like me, I also didn't know. IoT stands for Internet of Things. Now listen carefully. Internet of Things. Internet of Things is a concept which is growing bigger by the day. We are not just using the internet individually or independently anymore to type in a Google search. We're not just searching Google or using it for email anymore. What we are doing, and I haven't, I'm still quite old-fashioned when it comes to my television, etc. What many people are doing, they're connecting their cell phones with their smart television. They're connecting their smart television with their security system in their houses, with their cell phones and their tablets. Everything in your life is going to be connected to the internet. The Internet of Things, which is a concept. So when I say connected Internet of Things devices will reach 75 billion by 2025, it means it's all those additional smart devices, not just our cell phones and our laptops. Now the security and cyber risk will extend beyond our cell phones and our laptops. It will also extend right through our actual physical security systems if we are connecting our security systems to our devices. All these things that we connect is called Internet of Things. So there's a massive threat of privacy the way this concept is growing and growing and growing. It's not only the number of cell phones which are important. It's not only the number of internet users in the world which is important when one assesses your cyber risk. It's also this connectivity of everything in your life. Your car is connected to your cell phone. Cell phone's connected to your house. You can switch the lights on and off sitting at the office. You can open the gate as you drive in. Instead of using a remote, use your cell phone to actually manage all the electronic gadgets in your life. That is a real concern. Cybersecurity called fact number 10 unfolds the cybersecurity jobs worldwide will reach over 4 million by 2021. Things are moving so quickly that there aren't enough people stepping in to do the job. So it's a question of supply and demand. So, if there are any of you who have kids and your kids don't really know what to do, and they're so used to pursuing the general careers and placements, and, it's so frustrating, there are no jobs. We always say South Africa, there's joblessness. Kids should look seriously into cybersecurity jobs. Get training in cybersecurity. It's the way of the world, it's the way of the future, and it's never going to change. And there's the legitimate statistic. 4 million cybersecurity jobs will be unfilled by 2021. Fact number 11, 95% of cybersecurity breaches are due to human error. And human error does not mean that you willfully or do something, that you action something, that you accidentally press the button. Human error also lies in negligence or ignorance. And if your organization is not going to take the cybersecurity of your organization and all the connected devices, etc., seriously, then there is going to be human error and there is going to be damages suffered at some or other point. That organization is going to be targeted. So we've got to be proactive in putting the cyber security measures in place and give our human capacity in our businesses guidelines in our privacy policy, so that people don't flail around and are unsure, and then it's a mystery of what they must do and when they must change their password and what they must do with emails and WhatsApps. Give them the guidelines. Fact number 12, more than 77% of organizations do not have a cybersecurity incident response plan. This is a global statistic. More than 77% of organizations do not have a security incident response plan in place. Something to think about, and that is where the opportunities lie. Opportunities, positive opportunities for people who don't know which direction they should go into cybersecurity. There's massive market for it. But on the other hand, the crooks also sit back and go into cybersecurity because there's massive opportunities for us. Businesses are not taking this seriously yet. Fact number 13, most companies take nearly 6 months to detect a data breach, even major ones, because they wouldn't know. I mean, if the guy was standing with a gun in front of you, you would know. But that's not the case with cyber threats. The guys are watching you. They're tracking you. They've got all sorts of mechanisms to check what we search in Google, to check if we search banking details in Google, if we are emailing banking details, the word banking details in the subject line. We wouldn't even know. You and I would know if it has to do with money. If our buyer wants to pay a deposit and a hacker has emailed him false bank details, we would know. But we wouldn't know if anybody is like downloading our database from the internet, from our cell phone, the emails. And obviously, share prices fall significantly if there's a data breach, and total cost of cybercrime committed globally will reach 6 trillion by 2021. I hope you are as shocked as I am to see what we are part of and what the risks are. We are seriously at risk, all of us. We might feel that we're far away from America and Europe, and this only happens in America, but it doesn't. It happens everywhere in the world, and it happens in South Africa as well. Have a look at this. This is the South African, just a short summary of what's happening in SA. Mimecast is a firewall company. They've got hardware and software that you can purchase, you can license. They're very, very good in assisting with cybersecurity. STBB uses Mimecast to store away our archived emails in a secure place, like offsite. And so I thought it would be good to check Mimecast December report. 19% year-over-year increase in ransomware attacks targeting South African organizations. So you see, from December 2018 to December 2019, there was a 20% increase in South African companies being targeted by ransomware. There was a 63% increase in impersonation fraud because we are emailing password unprotected IDs. Gosh, if I think about FICA and what our responsibilities are, you know, we accept email signed documents. It's quick business. We are under such pressure to just pump the business through that it often takes too long for us to meet. We just quickly send an email, sign the document, and email it back. Sometimes we don't even meet the clients. We speak to them on the phone, but there you go. 63% of South African businesses reported increases in impersonation fraud, and 84% saw email-based spoofing. I'm going to tell you now about spoofing in a minute. You know these emails that you get, and it looks legitimate, and you click on it. As soon as you click on it, the hacker is into your business and into your private stuff. And there's been a massive increase in email-based spoofing. So when your IT departments set up cybersecurity measures, one of the measures that they must set up as part of your cybersecurity process and upgrade is a way in which certain email addresses are picked up and someone is notified, so that the general population or human capacity in your offices, your admin, reception, your agents, don't just click. That there's a way in which suspicious emails can be picked up as an organization. Okay, so these are all the slang words or the words that you hear and that you might not understand. So the main cyber threats, as I said before, email spoofing, massive increase, 84% in South Africa. Impersonation fraud, 19%. Ransomware targeting. So let's have a look to see what that means. So malware software is a piece of software that was written with the intent of doing harm to data, devices, or to people. Types of malware include computer viruses, trojans, spyware, ransomware, adware, and worms. So if you get an email and there is a link in the email that says if you want to get emails from SARS or SARS wants to check your income tax details, click on the link. If it is a spoofing email and you click on that link, the malware software and the virus comes into your device without you knowing. And it could harm your data, and it could corrupt your entire system. So 90% of mobile malware targets were Android devices, guys. I also have an Android device. No wonder people are moving towards the Apple generation. So 98% of mobile malware targets were Android devices, which means that Android is a big risk. It opens up cyber risk if I get my emails on my Android device. Over the last year, however, the Mac operating system malware has increased by 165%. And the reason why the MacBook or the Apple products are also at risk, they never used to be at risk, is because in the olden days, I remember the first Macs or the first Apple products that came out could not use the Microsoft applications. So you couldn't have Outlook on your email, on your Apple cell phone. You couldn't have Excel. But because Microsoft is so massive and massively used all over the world, Apple products cannot conform or are not compatible with your PC unless both the devices have the Microsoft applications on them. So Microsoft had to concede, and you can now download the Microsoft applications onto your Apple device. And as a result of that, the hackers have managed to use the Microsoft applications, which are not very secure. That's why Android phones are not very secure. To even get into the Apple products. Malware development rates for Windows, and Windows obviously being Microsoft based, decreased by 11.6% since reaching an all-time high in 2015. So at least it seems like the Microsoft products the security measures are stepping up, but I mean, this is also quite scary. So when you receive an email spoof, you could open yourself up to malware, software, or viruses, worms coming into your device, and as a result, the fraudster can hack your device, can hack you. Phishing. Phishing is a type of cyber attack where threat actors randomly send emails to a broad audience in an attempt to trick people into providing sensitive information such as account credentials. I mean, we all get it. We get those SMSs. Yes, it annoys me. I mean, I just wish I could do something about these phishing emails and phishing SMSs. You know, click here to enter into the competition. Click here to update your details. Click here, click here. All of that's phishing. You don't click, please, under any circumstances. Delete the SMS, delete the email. Because if you do click, then they can get your details. They can get your banking details, because we all put our credit card details into some payment functions on the internet. We all pay electronically sometimes for things. We all have internet banking. Targeted emails or spear phishing is reported by businesses to be used in 91% of successful data breaches. 56% of IT decision makers say targeted phishing attacks are their top security threat. Spear phishing is where they can access via social media. So if someone requests a friend, if they send you a friend request on Facebook, if you don't know that person, don't accept the friend request. Go through your friends on Facebook. Go and check when the Facebook page was set up. Even Facebook Messenger is not as safe as it used to be before. So you've got to be really careful when you use all of these facilities, not to just click, 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 accept, accept, accept. Obviously, all of that leads to fraud, where devices and access, if used, can lead to sensitive information being used, identification stolen, money's being stolen. How do these fraudsters get access to bank accounts? How is it possible that my friends and family who've been through this tell me that 10,000 Rand was withdrawn from their account? Not withdrawn, where purchases were made, the flight tickets bought. I mean, it is because we are not security savvy on our devices and our electronic activities. Social engineering is also a new concept that I want you to be aware of. It's the psychological manipulation of people into performing actions or divulging confidential information. So if you're on Facebook and you like all these videos of, I don't know, dog rescues or dodo rescues or cat rescues, the hackers will wait to see a pattern of your usage and will utilize your pattern to trick you into clicking on something that looks the same as what your pattern use looks. So you've got to be very aware of your pattern of usage, and you've got to be very sure not to fall prey to like this. Do you want to see the next video? Click here to see the next video of a kitten being rescued. Be very careful of that. Candidates for a social engineering attack can range from a corporate executive to an elementary school student. Even the most seasoned IT professionals can be victimized by this type of attack. 98% of cyber attacks rely on social engineering. So they slowly make suggestions, because we're used to our social media prompting friends, prompting videos, prompting business pages. So we don't actually think anything of it. A year ago, we would have. In 2018, there were 80,000 cyber attacks per day. 21% of all files are not protected in any way. Your files, my files. This is globally. We just send a copy of our ID, PDF on an email to someone we don't know. 41% of companies have over 1,000 sensitive files, including credit card numbers and health records. 70% of organizations say that they believe their security risk increased significantly since 2017. 69% of organizations don't believe the threats they're seeing can be blocked by their antivirus software. 50% of the security risk that organizations face stems from having multiple security vendors and products. You might already have firewalls in place. Like for instance, my laptop. I don't even know if I've got a firewall in place. It's my personal laptop that I'm presenting through today. I use it at the office. I have to assume that when my IT set it up for me to use it here, they put firewalls in and all the security things. But even I don't know. I mean, it is very scary. We need to relook the whole thing. And 7 out of 10 organizations say their security risk is increased. Now, you might think, blah, 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 Mel, it's never going to happen to STBB, it's never going to happen to my agency. Never going to happen. Let's have a look. Recent security attacks and breaches. These are real. Maybe not so publicized in the media, because obviously the companies don't want us to know. Look at this. In 2013, cyber criminals hacked 3 billion email accounts from Yahoo, gaining access to sensitive customer information. 3 billion. In 2013, cyber attackers used malware. In other words, there was an email link that someone in the company clicked to steal data from Target company point of sale. Target is like a Woolworths internationally. Company point of sale system, compromising information of approximately 110 million credit and debit carrying customers. 2015, hackers broke into Anthem Incorporated servers and stole 37.5 million records consisting of sensitive information. 2017, Uber network was breached, compromising data of 50 million riders, 7 million drivers, and 600,000 US-based driver license details. I didn't even know about that, and I'm also an Uber user. 2018, cyber attackers hacked into Marriott International computer system and compromised 500 million accounts. 2018, Cathay Pacific was hacked and 9.4 million accounts were compromised. And here is the big finale with regards to examples of data breach compromises. Our fantastic credit bureau, one of them in South Africa, alongside ITC, we all know ITC and Experian, was compromised in August 2020. 24 million consumers and 800,000 businesses were compromised, and the details, their personal details on Experian, which is everything. Your name, your number, your email address, your employment, your tax number, all your telephone numbers over the years. Experian and the credit bureaus, as you know, keep all your records. The data breach is one of SA's largest credit bureau breaches, and it will probably go down in history as the country's largest and self-created blunder. Experian accidentally engineered the data breach when it willingly handed over personal details belonging to as many as 24 million consumers and nearly 800,000 businesses to an individual that is now described as a fraudster. The credit reporting agency revealed in a statement, and this was in August, that an individual fraudulently claimed to represent one of its clients and then requested services from the firm, prompting the release of the data. This is actually quite mind-boggling. Experian sought to play down the seriousness of the incident by claiming that this information is provided in the ordinary course of business and is accessible quite easily otherwise, like no consumer credit or financial information were breached. Experian was tight-lipped on the number of customers affected, although one of the authorities that is engaged was following the incident, claimed that 24 million consumers and 800,000 businesses were involved. Banks have been working behind the scenes to identify how many of their customers may have been impacted. And I know that all of us actually, if you've got a bond, or if you've got a credit card or an overdraft, you would have received SMSs actually from all your credit providers. I've got car finance, I got an SMS from Westbank. I have a credit card, I got an SMS from Discovery, just to notify us that they were doing everything in their power. But up until today, I don't know if my details were compromised. It's actually quite scary. Might wake up one day and all my stuff, all my money has been drawn from my account because of Experian. But it happens. Experian would never have thought that it would happen, but it happens. Okay, so how do we protect ourselves? In other words, what will you need to see in your organization's privacy policy and the cyber security and all those red little sub-paragraphs which were in the slide I'll show it to you again? What do we need to do going forward in respect of all those virtual elements? Use a full service internet security suite, like for instance Norton Security provides real-time protection against existing and emerging malware, including ransomware and viruses. Now, protect your private and financial information when you go online. Use strong passwords. Don't repeat the passwords on different sites and different devices. And change your passwords regularly. In fact, in your policy, you'll see that there will be guidelines. You'll have to change your cell phone password once a week. You have to change your Google login password once a month. You have to change your laptop, blah, blah, blah. There will be guidelines in your policy. Keep your software updated. This is important with your operating systems. And my operating system on my Android is Microsoft. It's Google. It's Google-based. Cyber criminals frequently use known exploits or flaws in the software which might not have been updated to gain access to the system. Manage your social media settings. I mean, since I've started preparing for this presentation, I've actually considered deleting all my social media sites because I'm quite active on Facebook. I mean, you know, I've got family. My sisters live in England, and I've got family in Australia and Abu Dhabi and all over the world. I've got friends in Turkey and France. I mean, it's nice to be connected over Facebook because you sort of keep updated with what people do in their lives. Facebook is a very, very, very dangerous social media site. We do not, as normal users, you and I, normal Facebook users, how often do we go into our Facebook privacy settings? How often do we actually go into our settings? How often do we go and check our notifications? You must keep your personal and private information locked down. Social engineering cyber criminals can often get your personal information with just a few data points. So the less you share, the better. The fifth trick and measure which will help is to strengthen your home network. I mean, it's absolutely important for all of us to remember to never ever log on to a Wi-Fi site that is public, even a public Wi-Fi site with a password. I mean, I think, for instance, at the lounges at the airports, you know, you go to the, I don't know, Standard Bank Lounge or whatever, and, you know, the password is up for everybody to see. You know, so you need to be more vigilant if you are logging onto a Wi-Fi site with a public password. It's a good idea to start with a strong encryption password as well as a virtual private network. A VPN, which is what virtual private network means, will encrypt all traffic leading to your devices. So we need to think at our homes whether we need to have a virtual private network set up, you know, ahead of our normal Wi-Fi. I mean, my Wi-Fi at home is password protected, not a very difficult password. And in fact, I'll tell you a secret, it's the same password as my cell phone password and all my other passwords. So it's not really very good. So if cyber criminals manage to hack into your communication at home, they won't intercept anything, but they will encrypt your data. You won't even know that they have actually hacked in. Talk to your children about the internet. I mean, I know that all my chummies, kids, and all my nieces and nephews, they are all on their own tablets. And I see that my friends are buying cell phone devices with some Wi-Fi connectivity, not all, but some, from the ages of, say, 11 or 12. It's very acceptable. I mean, when I was 11, I was still playing in the dirt. We were very different in those days, but things have changed. You need to start teaching them about acceptable use of the internet. And every time they close their device, they have to shut it down. You need to ensure that even your kids' devices are password protected and that their protection is the same as yours. And obviously, keep up to date on major security breaches. If you're doing business with a company and you see somewhere that their data has been breached, you need to lock down and do an audit immediately to check if your client's information has been breached. And lo and behold, our South African police service has even published their own top tips. which I thought was very cute. And I thought, let me share it with you, because the more I share surrounding tips and the top 10 prevention measures that the South African Police Service also thinks that you should be implementing, the better. Use strong passwords, secure your computer. In other words, activate firewall, use antivirus, block spyware, be social media savvy, secure your mobile phone, install the latest operating systems, protect your data, secure your wireless network, protect your e-identity, avoid being scammed, call the right person for help. Act as if you are compromised at all times. So, go onto Facebook. I mean, I wish I could show you live how to do it, because I've only just started doing it myself recently. And I've probably posted 20 million trillion things on Facebook in the last 15 years. Go into your privacy settings. Go and check on your laptop, your privacy settings on your laptop. If you log onto a VPN, a work server, and also a Wi-Fi server. Don't open emails from unknown sources. Don't click on links in emails unless you are sure that it's safe. Always verify payment details telephonically. Experiencing a data breach is, 960,000 times more likely than getting struck by lightning or dating a millionaire. So if you haven't been subject to hacking or theft, cyber theft, then the chances are actually quite big that in the next year or 5 or 10, you will be subject to. So we just want to make sure that we're not in that position where things are swiped and we're really in trouble. I told you, I think at the end of the last session, what STBB is doing. I mean, I can't even begin to explain to you guys how worried we are about what I've just covered. Obviously we have masses of information and data and emails, and it's crazy the amount of money that we receive, the deposits, the balance of purchase price, the guarantees that are paid, and we are often subject to fraud attempts. And we have had to develop very quickly and on the go measures to try and combat these attempts by these hackers to intercept clients' emails and then to pretend to be the client when they email with us. It's not possible for hackers to intercept STBB's emails. It's very difficult because we have extreme firewalls and cybersecurity measures in place. But clients don't. They email from Gmail. Gmail is Microsoft-based. It's Google-based. So if you've got no privacy settings, then any hacker can just sit back with his cocktail on the Miami beach, checking every single Gmail email that goes out and just look for the subject line, payment confirmation or proof of payment. Bam, intercepts the email and the client wouldn't know any better. So we actually have a policy in place that we must verify our banking details with every client. So we email them, I even WhatsApp and phone, just to ensure that clients do not fall for that age-old trick of being duped. And even having identities clients, where you guys have got to start thinking about password protecting your attachments on your emails, especially when you're emailing to a client. Your organization will have good firewalls in place, but your client's email at home will be Gmail or yahoo.com, and it's not safe. So we are moving slowly away from email communications, and we're moving slowly towards clients completing documents on their devices and upgrading it and integrating it. Let me just take a sip of my coffee. My tongue is very dry. With our software, we've got a fantastic app called STBB Direct app, which in any event is a fantastic app because you do your transfer bond cost calculation. You can generate that cost calculation into PDF from your cell phone and email it or WhatsApp it to a client. You can even do bond repayments and do it in PDF. You can do agent's commission, you can do CGT, price per square meter. Soon, this interface for our app is going to be amended, and we are going to have an e-vault for every single client who downloads the app. In fact, an e-vault for every client. And we are encouraging clients to upload their proof of payment and to get our banking details on the app so that we don't need to deal with it on email. It's going to take a while, but we are hoping that sellers and buyers will start uploading FICA documents and proof of payment onto our STBB desk, to the STBB desk via the app. So even we have to stay on top of cyber attacks. And I mean, I remember there was quite a prominent law firm, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, that kept it on the lowdown because it obviously would cause mass mania and hysterics. I won't tell you who it is, but it was a prominent law firm where one of the secretaries, unbeknownst to the secretary, got an email and it looked legitimate and she clicked on a link and the whole system for that law firm was held at ransom. All emails, all clients' data, all banking details, all everything. And I'm not entirely sure how that was resolved. It was kept so quiet that I just heard about it happening, but I didn't actually hear how it was resolved. So it does happen out there. So we can never say that it's not going to happen to us or our organizations. And that is the end of my presentation. I just want to go back and leave this on the screen, this slide with an overview of what your policy is going to look like. So you're going to have a subheading called electronic data retention and have a subheading physical data retention. You're going to have these subheadings. This is what you're going to see in your organization's privacy policy. So I'm going to leave it on the screen because you need to start getting used to the fact that cybersecurity as part of your big privacy policy is one of the biggest. Not actually where you keep your archived physical files. That's that important. It's really the cyber connectivity and the billions of people who could possibly have access to everything that you do on your cell phone and your laptop, including dealing with clients, emailing clients, WhatsApping clients. So I'm just going to leave this on the screen. Let me have a look at some questions. Yeah, I'm not sure, Lonnie, if you've checked whether there were any questions. Michelle Bester?
No, it's me, Mel. It's Lani. I didn't see any questions.
Okay, but no, sorry, Lonnie. I see Michelle made a comment. Well done, guys. For interest's sake, to latch onto Milani's presentation today, do yourselves a favor and watch Social Dilemma on Netflix, which is a contradiction and an irony. For us to learn about the social media dilemma, we have to go onto Netflix. You know, we need to, yeah, we need to watch all these things and be very careful with these things. But yeah, it is very scary. We are too connected. We need to make sure that we keep our personal stuff personal as much as we can, including myself. As I say, I'm a very avid Facebook poster and I'm very scared now. I need to go and delete photos. I don't want the hackers in Romania to see, you know, where I have lunch on a Saturday afternoon in the Winelands.
Mel, there's one question, whether Skype is safer than Zoom.
I can honestly not tell you. I don't really know what the safety measures or comparison is between Zoom, MS Teams. There are a few of them. So Zoom, MS Teams, and Skype, and then obviously your video calls on WhatsApp. Those are the ones that we've been using a lot through lockdown. Suffice to say that our own IT department prefers MS Teams. Because apparently it is slightly more secure than Zoom, but we've got Zoom down to the T. You would have seen that you need to register. You have your username that you type in, and then your password, and then you have to put your email address in. So it's not that easy for hackers just to come into a Zoom meeting, but if it's a public Zoom meeting, then of course anyone can log into it. But I can't really tell you which one is secure. I think all of them are equally at risk because, you know, it's all out in the air as we're sitting here talking. Okay, there's a comment that says from Patricia, I heard that Skype is much safer than Zoom. I think it might be because with Zoom, you go onto a website. You know, anything website-based is a bit more dangerous because then you're in the internet. But if you do it app-based, you've downloaded the app, you're just getting contact through the app, not through the internet to the app. So I think anything app-based is a bit safer. That's like a video call through WhatsApp. It's that I think that must be one of the safest ones. I hope that this, yeah, just gives you a bit of perspective. I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. Um, Obviously, we will be circulating a bit of an outline for the policy that I'm busy working on for one or two of the real estate partners. But I am aware that many of the larger real estate organizations are busy with their own, because they've got their own IT guys, they've got their own human resources and their development teams. If you're a smaller organization or a smaller estate agency, we can help you with the privacy policy, but I can't really help you with a proper review of your cyber structure. There are companies out there who charge a relative fee. I've seen it in Google. There are some companies who are offering to do a whole audit and a check and a review of all your devices and your emails and your firewalls, who do a cyber analysis. And for the smaller organizations, it might not be a bad idea to spend a little bit of money. It's an investment, small investment, I think, for long-term security. And you might probably have to keep doing it. It's an ongoing thing as things change. Okay, I think that's it. I'm really glad that you guys enjoyed the presentation. I hope to see you guys at the presentation, the 5th session, and then we're nearly done. Who can believe that it's October tomorrow? It's crazy stuff. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all selling up a storm. I hope that you're all healthy and that you're wearing your masks. And yeah, guys, it's not as bad as we think. Life is fantastic, and then it's too short. So let's make the most of it, and let's go out and be kind to each other, and let's support each other, and let's make money. Let's go do business.